We've got beauty, we've got power, we have performance, and we have fun. Actually, we are going to have a lot of fun today. Technohull Alpha 50, ladies and gents. This is going to be quite a detailed tour of the boat, and if you like what you see, we're going to be going for a very fun test drive. This boat is special. This boat compares with some of the best day boats and also super high performance boats, if you wish to compare it as such, but it does a lot more than that. So my name's Dan Jones, welcome to Dan's Boat Life, and we're in Greece. That's the Temple of Poseidon. It's pretty cool. We had a stunning sunrise just going around that this morning, and these waters are perfect for fast boats. So coming close, I want you to check out the transom, and this is a unique brand that is super special in the way they drive, and they do have a high focus on performance, but I want to stress it's not because you must, it's because you can. So it's a boat that, in my experience for half a day now driving around this thing, this is super beamy, it's super comfortable, it's super luxury. So if you want to overtake everyone on the waters, you absolutely can. But you can also take out 16 people if you wish. She's category C. She has an amazing deep V hull, air steps and cutting action at the bow. And she's going to keep everyone dry and comfortable. So start here at the transom because the engine options are immense. I'm actually going to list through them all at the end of the test drive video because there's too many options to talk about right now. But we are running the Quad 500 Rs. You can do 5s, you can do 3s, you can do 600 V12s. You can also do inboard diesels. It's all been customized and weight balanced depending on which engine package you choose. The owner of the factory personally tests every single Technohull, and he sets up the heights of these jacking plates for every single boat to customize it to the exact millimeter, so to speak, for your best ride. So we can see super thick transom, these backing plates here, that's the jacking plates, an immense amount of power, but also what that equates to is super comfortable, fast, dry and fun cruising speed. So we can cruise on this thing at 40 knots. We can also cruise at 50 knots in a safe manner, because if you look at the drone footage that we've taken for you today, she does have a tendency to cut up that chop. We've got racing trim tabs available to us, so we can lower the bow if we need to, go into the wind, or if we want to lean the boat due to weight or balance. It's all possible. So it's a really, really nice experience. If you are someone who's not just going to send a captain out and do the driving for you, actually, you go over there, guys, so you don't get the sun in your eyes. If you actually want to enjoy your boat and drive it yourself, this could be a very, very interesting option for you. So we've got the teak with the grey caulking. You can choose what you wish, including the upholstery, and you can also choose black or white. And I think you can even option them with grey, but the most popular are black or white tubes and hull colours. We've got a swim ladder out on the port side. On this one, we have enough space with these extendable transoms to step off at the back if you need. And coming closer, just have a quick look. This is carbon. This is actually custom, done by the factory. This is actually a unique, a special technique to get the carbon to look like this. And it's very, very cool. All the cleats look like that. These are carbon poles for the sunshade. This sunshade will actually also drop down with zip-on sides, aft and the other side. So if you have low light penetrating, port, starboard or the rear of the boat, you can protect yourself. And as you can see, this particular boat is going to be used in the tender function. So they have fitted these boarding stairs, and there is a removable carbon grab handle which goes in this fitting just here, and that's just for securing a fender, not the boat, because you want to secure the boat on that one just over there. Shore power in here, and I'm just going to show you the size of the sun lounge. epic, super comfortable, good angle, nice lower back support. You could probably hold on to these if you're going super fast, but I also think if you're the driver and you're accelerating to those speeds, don't do that with some girls on the back. Maybe put them on the seats forward. But underneath, if you just press this button here, you've got super strong gas struts, and you can see this deep storage, perfect for all your fenders, lines, and extra equipment. It is drained. And then underneath here, if you went for the inboard option, you're going to have the inboard motors under there. Oh, so strong. Oh, okay, and that locks, boom, boom, just with that underneath there. We actually have self-draining decks. So we have the transom platform here on this level. We've got the swim shower just here. That's the diesel in for the optional Fisher Panda genset. And this was it's a dive style swim ladder, and you have a small grab handle, very easy, but it's also quite neat and retracts out of the way when not in use. And you can see we also have the boarding steps on this side for this particular boat. You don't have to have that if you're not using it in the tender function. But then when we get here into the heart of the boat, we actually have a few options. So this particular boat has been fitted with the bar station. So it's quite large at the moment. That's a beautiful workspace, but you can hinge this up with the gas struts, and we're on this nice sort of stone looking, but I'm not exactly sure what material that is, but we've got a bin in here, and we've also got a sink in there. And then we have 1, 2, 3 drawer fridges, and you'll see the speakers dotted around. It actually it has a very high standard spec. So it's got a pumping stereo system as standard, but you don't need to have this bar area. You can actually have this as an opposing lounge seat. So I'll just sit in this one for perspective, and see that? That's to hold on when you go fast. so hang on, tie your hair up, and it's going to be a lot of fun should you wish to drive it like that. But not everyone needs to do that. It's not necessary. We've got this beautiful lunch table just here, drink holders. They're 4 drink holders, but when the table is open, it'll turn into 8, and it's a drop-down electrically operated. I assume you can put a cushion on the top of that for turning it into another day bed. And you can see we're basically clean decks all the way through. I'm going to show you on this side before we make our way forward, but this is a beautiful little drink station. On the opposite side, we actually have a coffee station with its own plug, and we can plug in an espresso coffee machine. This particular boat has got 4 batteries. That's basically running the house and the crank. Depending on what engine setup, it's also going to potentially be 5 batteries. There is an inverter to give you power to that coffee machine, but you can also do lithium battery banks, or the genset like this particular boat has been fitted. We can also put a Seakeeper gyros for some of you Americans watching. I would argue in most places it's not necessary. We do have quite a lot of beam. Like if you just see me here, 1, 2, 3.5 meters inside the cockpit. So it's not a narrow rib. We really do have a lot of space to play with. Okay, we're going to move our way forward, but just pay attention to some of the aerodynamics. It was noticeable in the high-speed driving today. The wind vortices are going around the driver and passengers in the forward seats. You're not losing your hat. We really do notice these things at super high speeds. The other thing is all of the upholstery and all the loose items on the boat, well, basically they're not loose. So see these cushions here? They have the straps. You can really wind this thing up and you're not going to lose anything off the decks. Before we make our way forward, these buttons just in here, they operate the drop-down table and also access into the large storage hatch which opens forward. So underneath here is where the generator is located and access to the Seakeeper if you option that one. In terms of fuel tank location, it's a 1,800 litre fuel tank, petrol obviously. You have 2 fill-up points, one on starboard, one on port, going into the same tank though. So it's a centrally located tank for the weight and balance. It's a stainless steel construction. And then forward of that, you've got the 200 litre water tank, which is a hard plastic construction, also on the center line for weight and balance. Now, let's focus on this roof. This has clearly got some aerodynamic design to it because we can see carbon construction, we got vacuum infusion for the hull. Everything has been done with weight, balance and aerodynamics in mind, and there ain't a single rattle on this thing. When you are hauling, the boat feels solid. This is right at the top of the quality spectrum and the performance spectrum for many of the boats I've tested. But you tell you what, the black is a little bit too hot for my feet right now, so get the white if you're worried about that. But we have grab holds here. These supports are perfectly sufficient because you can see we have a full windscreen which actually connects down, so there's no movement. So maybe if you guys zoom out a little bit, you can get that whole thing in shot. Some of these roofs and some of the boats that I test just have a support here and another support here, or they leave the front open and the roof can flex a little bit. I would suggest that's not a good idea for a super high performance boat because you don't want to be feeling any rattles. You want everything to be solid so you're confident and secure in watching out for your situational awareness. And that's what this boat allows you to do. So come and have a look at the dash, and then we'll also look at the passenger seats. You don't have to have this row of seats, I believe, but I feel like you'd want them because it makes sense. It's a nice secure place for your guests to sit. But just come and have a look at the dash and we'll go through it in detail. Look at these carbon finishes. That's super strong. We were using that today. And in terms of your driving position, you've got a few options. All of these seats are suspension seats, so they're going to be comfortable if you're really hauling and you want to sit down, but the driving position is fine too. So we can stand and drive. I've got the adjustable wheel, so if you've got a bit of a beer gut, you can actually move the wheel a little bit, but you can stand like that. You can also put your foot up on that footrest just there, which is a nice position. From about 23 knots onwards, the bow settles and she starts to boogie. She really wants to go a lot faster, but from about that 23 knots onwards, your line of sight, hopefully you guys can see that, is essentially what I'm seeing right now. So you're going to have a good, clear, safe vision forward. And then if you want to sit down, this is what it's like. Now remember, I've got the world's shortest legs, so I'm actually sort of struggling just there, but most normal people would probably have their foot on that footrest there. I'm sure you could do something custom if you were like me and you wanted to have a second footrest just there. But inside here, we've got our fuses and our battery start. So your main battery switches are there within easy reach. We have our safety strop there. That's the diagnostics for the motors. And this is the individual key starts. You just switch them all to on because you can do a single button press. It's so cool on these quad rigs because it just, we'll have to film that for you later. It's a lot of fun. That's the trim tab operation. I like having that within easy reach of my throttle hand. And then we'll actually start at the starboard side and work our way across. These phone holders are excellent for fast boats because they actually lock your phone in rather than just the ones that you sit on the touchpad that are going to fall away at high speed. That's not going to. We've got a sensible glove box. We've got triple flat screen diagnostics. You do you with these. We do actually have a FLIR on this boat, which is arguably quite sensible for a high-speed boat to give you that long-range visibility out if you're in low light. But we can do diagnostics, radar, FLIR, chart, you do you. We've got the big drink holders. That means we can do a tinny with a cooler in here. All of our lights, freshwater, fridge, ceiling lights, can be operated there. That's in English. Obviously, this is the Mercury, so this has been optioned with the joystick and the sky hook, which is quite useful. However, we do also have a Lumar bow thruster, which I would suggest is a sensible option because it's a 50-foot boat, and that's a lot of leverage for 4 motors to apply to move that. So I think it's a good idea. Anchor operation is just on the starboard side of the wheel. We have the driver's phone charger just there, the Fusion on the starboard side, the Garmin on the port side, and then these 2 switches here are actually the electric hatch lifts for the aft hatch storage, and then the forward crew cabin and storage area. Windscreen wipers and horn and I like having windscreen wipers on their own dedicated button rather than having to find them somewhere in a flat screen, which does not make a lot of sense for a fast boat. Still got a compass, great amount of protection, and you might notice this aerodynamically styled perspex here. That's what's sending the wind vortices out to about this level here. So when you're sitting, the wind's kind of doing that. It's not even going to disturb your hair. It will disturb these people on the back seat a little bit, but they don't own the boat, so it doesn't matter. However, they're going to be quite comfortable. Everyone has a grab hold just here. You've got carbon fiber footrests, and actually just come in, I'll show you on this side. They've even considered big blokes with their long legs, who want to do something like that. I like that. That's super handy because those people on the outer seats are often struggling for something to do with their other foot. Just make sure you fold that in when not in use, because I wouldn't want to see you knocking your leg on it, because that'd suck. So more speakers there and there. And obviously these have got the flip up bolsters, super high quality upholstery. Everything is well bedded in. That's clearly marine material. You can get it wet and just wipe it off, no worries. So I wouldn't even be stressing so much about putting covers on these seats a lot of the time. Okay, if you've got a dust storm coming, different story. But if it's just moisture, I'd kind of be happy to leave this boat uncovered a lot of the time. Water tank in is just in here, and the subwoofer is underneath these aft seats, which is going to create a subwoofer effect because this is going to work like a sound box. So that's going to absolutely pump, which I think it should on a boat like this, because it's quite fitting. Because I hope if you buy something like this, you get out there and make a statement, because that's kind of what you're supposed to do on an Alpha 50. We do have accommodation and a toilet. We'll get to that in a second, because you really need to appreciate this space. This is where the beam carrying itself quite forward is quite noticeable. However, if you pay attention to some of my drone shots, that bow, it really flares out quite a way. So we've got good cutting action, great amount of deep fee. Going back to the air steps, remember this boat is only 7 tons loaded. She's less than half the weight of an equivalent size boat. That's why she hauls so fast, and she actually doesn't burn a lot of fuel. So if you're worried about fuel consumption, it's not an issue. We did a lot of driving this morning and we burnt like 10% of fuel in the tanks, which was great. But in terms of perspective, it's going to be hot. It's like 34 degrees today, so I'm being careful on the black. This is a built-in backrest, so it's lovely. If you want to have this area in shade, there's 4 poles, 1, 2, 3, 4, and you can have a shade directly over this bow lounge on the front. But that lounge is for sunbaking. So this one, you can get 4, 6 more people on all these, but all the angles, they're just perfect. So I actually, so many of these boats, I would argue you got to have a load of cushions stowed somewhere to dress the decks to be comfortable. I don't really think it's necessary on this one. Just beach towels. You can just be, if you value your time, if you really just want to get out and have a good time and then put the boat away and go and do something else, this will make a lot of sense, because you're not necessarily going to be dressing the boat and setting everything up. You're not so much worrying about fenders if you're going to go raft up alongside your mate's boat, because it's a rib. So there's so many of those advantages there. This is actually an escape hatch down into the accommodation. We've got a window. It's the single windscreen wiper you can see just there. And more speakers, 3 drink holders on either side of this forward sun lounge. But underneath this hatch, it's electrically operated. We have a crew cabin. It's an optional crew cabin or storage space with an optional toilet as well. So you can actually operate this as a fully crewed boat, and that's where they can accommodate themselves. Come on forward. We've got some grip tape to walk up on this side. It's a little bit hot right now. Woo, woo, woo. I'm going to sit down. You guys might not be able to do that. So let's just get into the anchor locker. So beautiful teak. The rib extends around the bow. So if you're boarding people from the front, you can actually nudge the bow up to another boat and safely board people this direction. Not a problem, because the anchor is below, and then The anchor locker, pass me the camera, I'm going to just show you guys this. The construction in here is fantastic. I was having a little squiz in the factory yesterday and again this morning. Can you see those lifting points? Just there and there. That is designed for some strops if you want to stow this thing on your big boat. And if you can see those backing plates in there, that is the optional tow hook to tow this thing behind your big boat. And it's double strength in terms of the fiberglass. We've got 60 meters of stainless steel chain. There is our gravity fed Lofrans winch and your power box, but it's beautifully finished. Look at the inside of that hatch there. Lots of little details, which I like to see, have been attended to on this boat. But it's also, when I was in the factory yesterday, I was having a look at the layup construction. The ribs quite close together. The whole structure of the frame that's bedded into the hull is fiberglassed in. It's not glued in, and the distance of the ribs is quite close compared to other boats. So they are building this thing light and strong, which is really good. So from here, we got to check out the accommodation, and then if you're interested, we got to go for a drive. Okay, so it is a proper boat door, boom, waterproof door. Look how strong that is. And then you come straight down. I would actually probably go this way, down 2 steps, and it's a decent bed. This is air conditioned. We don't have the air conditioning on today because the gen set is brand new and I didn't want to use it. You've got little storage spots. So you've got the drawer underneath here. You've also got a couple little spots on either side of the bed. You've got reading lights. You've got down lights. It's super cozy, and you've got lots of rounded, upholstered edges. So everything's smooth. You're not really going to hit your head or be uncomfortable. And you have this large, extra large Lumar opening hatch above forward facing for escape and ventilation if you didn't want to air condition this space. But you've got small hanging locker in there for a couple of jackets. You've got your light switches, your air conditioning control, 240 or 110 just in here. A good place for throwing things because you've got this ledge and a proper toilet. So get in there and have a look. That you can see you've got that opening port, nice little vanity. Obviously we've got a holding tank. It is also air conditioned. And this here, I'm actually going to get in there for perspective so you guys can see, because sometimes that's a little, I'm not sure if you use that Asian style for going to the toilet or whether that's for a shower. No, it's for a shower. Okay, we got a drain here. There you go. So I go to so many countries I get confused as to what in their bathrooms. So we've got some storage here and here, but look, I'm 5'7" and I've got probably 10 inches above my head. So you're not sort of struggling for space in here, and that's your air conditioning vent in there, electric toilet, so everything you need. What an amazing piece of kit. The test drive video is coming up next, but I wanted to talk about who is best suited to this boat or who's going to see the most value out of this boat. Then we'll talk about some design feedback, things that I love, and some considerations for you if you're buying one of these boats. So who is going to see the most value, or who is the demographic that's going to possibly get the most out of this boat? Probably a top G, to be fair. I think you probably want to be at the top of your game. What do I mean by that? Someone who is quite switched on with good situational awareness. I think you need to be confident with your hand-eye coordination and high emotional intelligence. Why do I say that? This boat is super comfortable. It's super luxury. It's also super fast if you want it to be. And I think if you're going to take control of a vessel with this possibility of going so quick, you should just think about your guests, think about your wife, think about your girlfriend, and watch them when you are accelerating and make sure they're still smiling. That's all. They probably will be, but you can't guarantee that. So just drive sensibly, check, go. Just do that. And if you're that sort of person, you're going to get the most fun out of enjoying something like this, because this is a driver's boat. You'll see that in the next video. Design feedback pros. What do I love? This hull design is fantastic. Dynastream, I think that's what they call it. I'll have to do some more deep research as to what that actually means, but I just looked at it out of the water. Beautiful amount of cutting action up the front, nice deep V carried aft, beautiful big air steps, and a couple of chines working in with the tubes, sending the wash out to the side. I only cleaned spray off these motors and we did 70 knots before turning on the cameras. There wasn't any spray anywhere else. So back to my earlier point, if you are a time poor person and you just want to go out and have some fun, you don't have to do as much work to set this thing up compared to perhaps your other boats or even other day boats which require a little bit more faffing about. It's not just a high-speed boat. This is without a doubt a ultra luxury day boat. It's a tender, it's a maxi rib, and it's an ultra luxury day boat. It's all three, and it's kind of you do you, and the boat will match your needs, in my opinion. I like the vinyl ester for osmosis protection. That's great. I like the vacuum infusion everywhere, the incorporation of carbon fiber. I even love the fact that the owner of the company tunes every single boat. They test and tune every single boat, and he does it personally. I love that. That's awesome. I think, as I mentioned before, the ribs or the structure or the strength, the internal frame, giving the rigidity is all glassed in. It's not glued in, and I think that's important for a very high speed boat, so I like that. Considerations for you: white or black. If you're in a hot country, you saw I was tippy-toeing around today. Okay, it's the height of summer here in Greece, so European sun's not so bad. You can probably get away with it in Europe. But if you're in Asia, if you're in Australia, you probably want to be thinking about the white, which would make a lot more sense, because having black in Sydney, that's going to be a little bit of a drama with our hot sun. Horsepower. Okay, I'm going to talk about that in detail in the next video, but you have many, many options. Consider doing a deep dive with your dealer or even with the factory, because there's so many options to choose from, and you really want to think, are you storing it on a lift? Are you storing it on a trailer? Are you storing it in the water? Are you keeping it in the water all year round? And what does your day look like? Once you've answered all those questions, the horsepower package answer will come. So there's no right and wrong to any engine package. You really need to dial in what your use case is, because if you're towing this behind your big boat and you want to take fuel from the mothership, well, then you probably prefer diesel. Therefore, inboards make more sense. So you really have to have a big think about that. Obviously, inboard versus outboard, that's the point I just covered. And things like these boarding steps, are you using this boat as a tender? In which case, if you are, consider something like this. That's perfect. That's going to make life a lot safer and easier for your guests. And do you want to do more lounging, or do you like the idea of a little Barbie setup? In which case, go for this setup on this boat. So yeah, those are all personal questions, but things for you to consider. So next up, I'm going to pop it up on the screen pretty soon. We're going to be having a lot of fun. We're going to be going real fast, and I want to do it again, actually, before we put this boat away, because it's such a cool thing. So don't forget to subscribe. Tell me what boat you have right now, and please tell me what you're comparing this model with, because if I get an opportunity, I will go and drive it and post the video. Feel free to reach out to me on Connect if you've got any direct questions. That's the only place to do it. I can't respond to all your DMs on social media, so if you are trying to ask buying questions and you want to talk to someone who's not selling any of these boats, that's me. I'm not affiliated with anyone. I'm not affiliated with the dealers or the brands. I can probably help you, and I'd be happy to do so. Love you lots. Coming from Greece. See you in the next video, guys.